is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show.
The Cowboys are on the clock.
Your war room for insider news and draft analysis.
The Dallas Cowboys select Ezekiel Elliott.
And now, your hosts, Dane Brugler, David Hellman, and Brian Broaddus.
Well, we welcome you to the Saturday edition of the Draft Show, coming to you live from the 2018 NFL Combine. This is our last show here in Indianapolis, so we will try and put a nice big bow on it for everybody out there. We had the quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends work today, the big money positions that, some tight ends maybe made some money today with the way they were running out there. But as always, I got my scouting buddies, Dane Brugler, David Hellman, Kent Garrison, executive producing. I want to open the show tonight with, though, a little bit of sad news. And we kind of talked about this last night. And this is something that from the experience that we've learned here at the Combine. We talked about this as a possibility, and it tends to happen when medical are involved. And really, for the Combine, the most important things for these teams are the medical checks. You know, they need to find out about these players, the health of these players. Something that I was worried about last night, I think we were all kind of worried about, is there going to be a guy pop up? Is there something going to happen that's going to allow that's not going to allow someone to potentially not live their NFL dream? Now, again, we'll need to see what all the tests lead to. But as we get into some more information, Maurice Hurst, the very talented defensive tackle, the under tackle, 3 technique from Michigan, we're hearing from reports, has a heart condition. And so kind of running some things down. Adam Schefter had it today. And then we were just kind of thinking about, my gosh, here we talked about it last night. Yeah. And now we have a situation like that. But the thoughts are, though, that Hurst is going to have to they found the condition. He's going to have to run some more tests. If the tests are going to determine whether he, in fact, can continue his career playing football. So for a young man that Dane Brugler in his first mock draft had coming to the Dallas Cowboys at 18. Right. I think I know I had him on the board at the first round. I believe Dane had him on the first round. Mm-hmm. David, you'd seen him before. But, again, talk about him, Dane. Talk about the fear we had of being here at the Combine. That something like this was going to happen, and lo and behold, it happened last night.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because this is something that's potentially career-ending. Not to be overdramatic or anything. It's a serious issue, and this isn't a precaution. It's something that teams are really worried about. So, first and foremost, you just hope the best for him as a person. He can live a normal life, and it's not anything that's going to hinder that. But then secondary, his football career. What's going to happen? He's going to get second and third opinions. From the best opinions out there, and try to figure this out. And this happened in 2013 with Star Lotulelei. Right. When he had a heart condition here at the Combine, didn't work out. Got a second opinion and was cleared, and the Panthers took him mid-first round. So this by no means rules out Maurice Hurst from draft consideration at 19 or for any team for that matter. But at this point, we just hope for the best because this is a guy who is trained and dreamt of this opportunity, and unfortunately he was told he needs to go home because something serious could happen. Yeah,
he's not going to work out tomorrow. As Dane said, he has left the Combine. David, just unfortunate bit of news. But the thing that you got some of the best doctors, some of the best men and women doctors in the country here in Indianapolis all together under one roof, and then you've got all these battery of tests that they run, MRIs and EKGs and everything that they could do to these players, and they found this, and I believe very fortunately that they could say, hey, you've got this condition, we need to run more tests. So it's not so much about football, it's about your health is what it really is.
Yeah, absolutely. Echoing Dane, everything Dane just said. You want the best for him health-wise, first of all. Nothing's more important than your health and your life, obviously. Selfishly, not to detract from that at all, but it's just kind of like one of the themes for this week is you just keep taking names off the board of options at 19 for the Cowboys. I mean,
that's very true.
Started the week off with Stephen Jones saying nose tackle, maybe not so much. We've talked ad nauseum about how guys like Calvin Ridley, Roquan Smith probably won't last that long. You're kind of far down the board for some of these blue chip prospects. And then a guy that did make sense. They love 3 techniques.
That very well could have been there.
Yeah, and
I think Dane's mock was absolutely accurate on that point.
To be fair, he might still be there.
Absolutely,
like Dane said, we don't know enough, but right now, can't very well right now think that he's an option at 19 until we know more about this. So it's just one more situation where you're like, all right, who exactly can we talk about as a possibility at 19?
And this is a scenario where this isn't like, we can get him a 3rd round now.
Right.
If
he's either going to be right back where he was or he's not going to get drafted.
Yeah, either you have him in the 1st round where you originally had him on the board, or he's not on your board and he won't be considered. So this isn't a case where now you're going to get a steal in the 5th round. That's not what this is about.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go to the happier side of things today, and hopefully, thoughts and prayers with Maurice Hurst. Hopefully, everything works out. All right, had some quarterbacks throw today.
Yeah.
4 of the 5 through.
4 of the 5 top ones.
4 of the 5 top quarterbacks through. Kind of one of those things. It was really Baskin-Robbins Day, depending on which flavor you really liked, and and I know you reached out to some of your scouting buddies. We had our own eyes on. There in the room, in the stadium, and how things may win. I mean, a lot of varying opinions of how these quarterbacks were able to navigate the day. And I'll open it up to any thoughts that you two gentlemen have about, what we saw.
Well, yeah, and you kind of alluded to it, or you mentioned it. But I reached out to one scout, and this is just one scout's opinion, who watched it, and he graded him like this. Number 1, and this is just today, how they performed in Lucas Oil Stadium, throwing the ball. Baker Mayfield was 1. He said he was accurate, quick. Next was Josh Allen. He said showed some consistency, which I know is kind of an oxymoron.
Right.
That some consistency is another way of saying inconsistent. Good
point.
And then 3rd was basically a tie between Josh Rosen and Lamar Jackson. He said both were underwhelming. So take from that what you will. This is just one workout and just one set of eyes. You could ask a different scout, maybe get a different opinion. I don't know. But I thought just, watching the workouts myself, I see what he's saying with Baker Mayfield. I thought everything was quick. Basically what you see on his tape. He was at his best on the slants, and when he could lead the receiver, he didn't have to think much. Just quick, get it out. It's very accurate. Josh Allen, man, he can uncork some just lasers. It's ridiculous. And that's why he's going to be in that top 15 conversation when I don't necessarily think he should be, just because how undeveloped he is in certain areas of playing the position. And then Rosen and Jackson, neither had the best day. I don't think they were bad. I wouldn't say they were bad.
Right.
But they weren't good either. So it's just, I think underwhelming might be the best way to put it.
Let's go back to Baker Mayfield, David. And if with Baker Mayfield, he's not always going to look pretty. Mechanically, he's not always going to do the right things.
Well, he's like nothing about him is prototypical.
Right.
Josh Allen, for instance,
Yeah, and so, there's some of the throws that you might have seen with him with, poor feet, poor footwork, opening shoulders, opening hips, things like that. I mean, maybe some accuracy. I mean, I was talking to some guys about it. Maybe throwing a little bit better going right than left. I mean, are these things, though, that you're going to have to deal with Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, you watch his tape, and the Oklahoma offense is geared around Baker Mayfield, his strengths as a player. And so you see a lot of seam throws. You see a lot of working the running back into the passing game. But you don't see consistent NFL routes, and that's something we watched here at the Combine.
Right.
And there were some inconsistent moments when he made throws outside the numbers, or he was asked to maybe on some timing routes. And it's difficult here. Let's be honest. For
this is tough. I mean,
you're dealing with
yeah,
receivers you've never thrown to.
Absolutely.
You're not in a game environment where you have pads on and there's a clock, there's a defense, there's pressure. I mean, there's obviously pressure in the sense that there's 32 NFL teams with their eyes locked on you and every throw matters. But in terms of defensive pressure, so it's something that I think you can take things from how the quarterbacks work out, but
it's not an end-all, be-all. Then.
Yeah, exactly.
Which,
Yeah.
I mean, to steal your line, I feel like you say this about everybody, but quarterbacks too. I mean, if you didn't like what you saw today, wait for the pro day.
Yeah,
It's probably going to look a lot better.
It could be, and and I personally was like, me and my, the Josh, the Lamar Jackson stuff, and I'm really locking in on Lamar Jackson. Again, I'm proud of him for going out there and throwing. But if you do watch him throw, there was that, again, it looked like a little bit of nervousness with him and the way he played. The way, I didn't feel like, though, that, there's things I saw on tape that were really good, and then there's some other things, mechanically today. See, that's when there's no rush,
Yeah.
that seems to be the hardest thing for Lamar Jackson to have to deal with. If Lamar Jackson just has to sit there and drop back, it doesn't have any. He's just got to be accurate every throw. And okay, I've got to step. I've got to, my feet. I'm going to throw off my back foot. I'm going to have to step up. And I thought Daniel Jeremiah hit him pretty good today with from the NFL Network about the in throws were good, the comeback throws were good, the stuff outside the numbers wasn't so good.
That's the same on tape.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I love the player. I really, really do love the player. But I think it's hard for him. This is a hard environment for him to throw the football in.
Well, and I think
just because he's at his best when things are kind of being thrown at him while he's moving around and stuff like that.
To Dane's point too. That's.
And I'm not making. Excuse me. I'm not making apologies for the kid.
But it's.
But I just feel like though that he's not going to shine in this setting like say Allen was going to shine with the arm strength.
And that's where I was going to go.
Yeah,
this isn't football, and that's why I've been pretty firmly anti Josh Allen throughout this whole thing.
Right.
I don't trust his resume. Yada yada. But he comes here and he's uncorking, 70-yard throws. Like, this is an event designed for a guy like him.
Right.
Like, if he doesn't,
you had a feeling he was going to win the day just by the arm talent alone. Yeah.
Like, you talk about his throws to the numbers don't look good. Jackson, well, obviously Allen's are going to look great. He's got the talent to do that, and that's why it's so fun and also frustrating because people get so swept up in that. And I think that's, the Combine gets a bad rap from people who don't really follow it because of stuff like that. Like, you get obsessed over workout numbers and the underwear Olympics and all that.
Right.
But it's easy to see how it plays into a guy's like that strength, and it's important to remember that there's way more to it than that. And that's, if any of those guys had looked even worse than they already did, I'm not going to put a ton of stock in it compared to everything else that goes into the evaluation.
Did anybody else catch your eye, Dane? I mentioned maybe a Mike White, somebody like that.
The quarterbacks?
Yeah, any of the other quarterbacks, kind of, down the line guys or anything like that. I mentioned him because, again, just watching him a little bit when I got to see him throw, though, like to say the accuracy, there was some good accurate throws that he made. Here's a guy that we had seen. We have a little bit of working knowledge with him from the Senior Bowl.
And I've said this: if you're looking for a developmental type of quarterback in the 4th, 5th round,
right?
Mike White and Kyle Lauletta, Mike White from Western
Kentucky,
and Kyle Lauletta from Richmond. Those are the two guys I'd be targeting. At least with those two guys, you see at worst the ability to be a backup and maybe some developmental traits.
Which very timely, Dane. Way to go. Throwing some Cowboys news into that. Got a chance to talk to Jerry Jones today.
I was going to get into that a little bit.
Came right out and say he was like, you need 4 quarterbacks to go to training camp. We really like Cooper Rush. But he said he'd like to add a 3rd developmental prospect who's not a veteran. So, that means a rookie to me. And whether or not the Cowboys spend a draft pick on him, I don't know. But I would guess they're either going to draft a guy or find another undrafted free agent like Cooper Rush. So
he was happy he had those compensatories, too, because it's going to allow him maybe to grab an extra guy or have to move around if he sees somebody he likes.
Well, if you want to get into all that total,
I'll get into that in the second half of the show.
I came away super pumped with what Jerry Jones said about the draft, from our perspective.
Right, we'll get into that, yeah.
But, you might be sitting here thinking, well, the Cowboys don't need a quarterback. Why are y'all talking about this? Well, they're going to add a rookie quarterback to this team this year, like one way or the other. Yeah. So it is. It's worth taking a look at.
I got you there. Okay, well, how about then? Let's focus in now on the receivers.
Yep.
And really what you saw. And David, I'll start with you. I'll give you the opportunity to to kind of toot the horn on anybody you want to?
I feel like I've done enough horn tooting. Like I'm like it's to the point where I'm worried about oversaturation because of how
we're already there.
The DJ Moore train is like flying off the tracks here. But it's a lot of. I mean, I thought he killed it. What? Dane?
Back in December, we were moving down the road in the bandwagon for DJ Moore. All of a sudden, at some point, you come in. Push me out of the driver's seat, take over.
You were going too slow.
Apparently I was.
You were going too slow. We're trying to get this thing into the station.
DJ Moore, listen, I've mentioned this before. My first draft board, he came in at number 30 overall, my number 2 wide receiver. My first draft board is about a month old now. He came in 2 inches taller. Okay. All right, already exceeding expectations.
And he ran a tenth of a second faster than you thought he was going to.
Yeah, more than a tenth.
Yeah.
Coming in at
4.42. Yeah, 4.55.
We were talking about, is it going to be 4.55?
Right.
Over, under that. He comes in at 4.42, also puts up great numbers in the broad and the vert. So this is a guy who has great tape, and he comes here, and he is taller, and he's faster.
He did, and I'm fully mea culpa. Like I don't.
I'm going to give you about 30 more seconds on this.
I don't really think DJ Moore is an option at 19, but I mean it's worth talking about. Like
sure,
he's taller than you thought he'd be. He's faster than you thought he'd be. What is holding him back, and what do you see as his real range as a prospect right now?
I think he's a first-round pick. I think in my mind, it's been set. Ridley and Moore, 1-2. Moore, I don't think, if you told me that he's going to come off the board at 22, I'd be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So I don't think it's a big leap to say that he should be considered at 19. When you talk about what you worry about, he's not the best in contested situations, a guy that's going to, high point and beat defenders in 50-50 opportunities. He's not the best in those situations, but we're nitpicking here. This is a guy who has a lot of way more positives than negatives.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly.
So, there's a lot to like about DJ Moore coming in, and even more so afterwards. So I think we're going to hear a lot about DJ Moore at 19. I'd be surprised if he was the pick, but again, he should at least be in consideration because we think that the Cowboys will consider a wide receiver in the first 3 rounds. And in the first round, Ridley or Moore, if Ridley's gone, Moore should at least be in the conversation.
Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
What if on teams' boards it's Moore over Ridley? Is that a possibility?
Sure. Ridley, to me,
I understand where you're.
No, I know,
and you understand where I'm coming from.
I'm telling you why.
I'm just saying,
Ridley, the route running and the play speed are why I think he's number 1. But if a team looks at DJ Moore, who's 20 pounds heavier,
right,
and is there's not a big gap between the two in terms of play speed and routes. Ridley is at a graduate level when it comes to route running, and I feel like DJ Moore just got his undergrad.
Okay.
So there's not a huge big, he's a very good route runner. There's just a little bit of a difference. But again, DJ Moore, 20 pounds heavier. Maybe you think of him as being more durable, a guy that's going to hold up over the middle, could do more things for you. I think that Calvin Ridley is your ideal Z. DJ Moore might show a little bit more versatility across the formation.
See, I don't disagree with you on the order they have. I was just wondering, is there a possibility that if Moore could be the surprise first receiver going off the board? Because you have, to me, those are the 2 first-round guys. Those are how I would evaluate.
If there's going to be 2 first-round
receivers. If there's 2 first-round guys, those are my 2 first-round guys.
I think there are like 4 positions where I don't think there's much debate about the top guy. Running back with Saquon Barkley.
Right.
I think you can throw guard in there with Quentin Nelson, and then defensive end Bradley Chubb, and then probably corner with Minka Fitzpatrick.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my opinion. I think you look at those. I guess Derwin James is safety. So those 5. There's not much debate about the top player at those positions. And I didn't say wide receiver because as much as I like Calvin Ridley, wouldn't be shocked at all if a team preferred DJ Moore because of the way he's built and maybe a little more versatility to his game.
Let's talk about then the second-round receivers. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Dave. You had a point.
I will settle for – I'm very content with – don't think it's going to happen, but it's a realistic possibility. I'm very content with that, especially 2 months out from the draft.
You just don't want to get your hopes up.
Exactly. After that, which this kind of goes into what you were going to say, we just said we think those would be the 2 first-round receivers. If there was going to be a 3rd receiver taken in the first round, who do y'all think it would be? I'm just curious because, again, we really have no idea how to sort this logjam out.
I think there's like 5 names you could like.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted to get into that.
The fastest 40-yard dash today was
DJ Chark.
And teams covet speed.
Oh, no, you were saying all along that if he ran
right.
that he could be right in the mix in the
Will
first
Fuller
round.
used a 4.32 to get up to the early 20s in that draft.
I'm just saying buyer beware
21.
there.
Well, sure, absolutely.
I'm just saying. I mean,
but with DJ Chark, 4.34.
No, I get it.
Would not be shocked if he went up in that late first.
Only the man to your left loves LSU more than me. And you watch.
It's frustrating.
There's not more of a heartbreaking player than him.
Mm-hmm.
And every time he's out there running around and doing what he's done, I'm like, okay. Yeah. But like the Senior Bowl, he showed up not the whole week. Then all of a sudden he showed up at the game.
Hey,
and I'm thinking, well, this is not a guy I'm used to seeing.
You just defended Lamar Jackson for being a gamer. DJ comes on when the lights are bright.
No. I understand.
I know.
I understand. I'm just saying, though, and you're right. Somebody's going to fall in love. And you know what? They might fall in love with him over more.
Sure,
if you want to know reality.
Here's the thing with DJ Chark is he doesn't need to be a 8-catch-a-game guy. He needs to make 2 explosive plays a game, and he would justify going in the first round.
He needs to be
that's it.
3-catch, 110-yard kind of guy.
Which is and have average 8 yards on punts.
Yeah.
And he can do that.
When you brought this up, I laughed at you.
Yeah, both of you guys
and
did.
We're sitting here at the combine, and I'm like,
because we see him play every week.
But it's a big picture, right? You take the combine, you
right.
take the stats, you take
the
resume. When you add it all together, it makes sense. I don't know if it's going to work out for the team that does it, but I'm not going to be surprised at all.
The NFL covets explosive plays, and DJ Chark is able to create some of those. 2 other names I want to talk about as possibilities in the first round, wide receiver. 2 guys that, we talk about Calvin Ridley, DJ Moore. I think we see those guys as more of number 2.
You're coming around on Callaway? Is that what you're about to tell me?
No, nobody likes Callaway but you.
Won't even make my board.
I know who he's going to talk about because I see him highlighted on his computer. Go ahead.
2 guys that have number 1 potential: Cortland Sutton and Equanimous St. Brown. SMU and Notre Dame.
The rise of St. Brown. And I think a lot of the rise. I think when you look at St. Brown, it's the quarterback play killed him. If he had a real quarterback there, he might be absolutely being talked about.
Say
in the
what
first
you
round.
will about Deshaun Kaiser, but his production as a sophomore
was
question about much
that.
higher than what he did as a junior under Brandon Wimbush. But St. Brown, at that size, I mean, he's almost 6'5". His body's still developing. He's still jacked. He runs really well, and he makes plays at all levels of the field. And then Cortland Sutton, he had himself a good day. We talked about it yesterday on the show. 4.52 athlete, 4.58 athlete.
Right.
He runs a 4.55 right in the middle.
Right in the middle, yeah.
Not a bad time for him, not a great time. The biggest thing for him, and he had good numbers in the short agility drills, big thing for him will just be the route running. Can he develop as a route runner and adjust to a pro-style system? I think it might take a year for him. He might have to redshirt, not completely redshirt, but I don't think he's going to live up to his status as a top 50 pick as a rookie. But year 2, year 3, that's where you hope Sutton blossoms.
Does he remind you a little bit with the 4.45 speed of not getting any faster, not getting any quicker? Does it bother you that he's a 6'3" guy, 200-plus pounds, and he's a 4.55 guy?
I think he can compensate enough with that size and be a power forward on the field that he doesn't need to be Calvin Ridley with his routes. He doesn't need to be. He just needs to give a little bit of separation so his quarterback can have some kind of target. So, and if he can do that, where he doesn't get hung up on press and at the top.
Did you ever see him get bullied a little bit for a big guy?
A little bit, yeah, but it's hard because in college,
I'm just asking.
No one presses.
See, and the reason I'm asking you that is because we seem to get fooled by that again. I mean, I get fooled.
TCU went at him.
Oh no, I get fooled. I got fooled by the big guy. If he would have come in here and say he would have run 4.48, 4.47, I'm going with you.
I think Laquan Treadwell's poisoned you, huh?
Yeah,
no, it's not that. It's just the fact. No, it's not. You even said about the scheme.
Oh, yeah.
You said about the scheme.
Oh, there's a huge jump. Yeah, sure.
But I'm talking about a 6'3" receiver that runs 4.55.
Yeah.
Are we going to get any faster?
No.
But I
don't think you need to either.
Yeah, I mean that's
in this league.
Point.
In this league, you just have to do just enough to get separation. Can he get separation?
But I don't think it's an athletic thing for him. It's a route running thing because he performed well in the short agility drills. He has some quickness to him, and I think with work and improving his routes, he can be an Alshon. And Alshon Jeffrey's not a burner.
No.
But he can do just enough, and that's what I think.
But
that
Alshon
Cortland
Jeffrey
Sutton could
went
be.
from being a guy drafted and then all of a sudden having to sign a 1-year deal with Philadelphia.
And then he got an extension and a
Well,
Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
I
So-
think, well,
After he signed a 1-year deal.
Well, but I think that was more laziness and all that, and that's what you figure out with Sutton. If you think Sutton's going to work at it, if you think that he is going to put in the time to reach his potential, then a team will consider him at some point in the first round.
It's fair. The 20 shuttle was 4.11. That's fair.
That's a good time.
between
60 shuttle was 11.06.
Good time.
You know what? You make sense on that. That part of it, you make sense. I'm just looking though at the 32.5 vertical, 10-4 broad's okay on that. The 3-cone was 6.57.
I'm not saying he doesn't have bust potential.
No.
What was
I'm
the
just
3-cone?
6.57.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous for a guy that size. I mean, what did QT have in the 3-cone? Do you have that?
Yeah, of course I had that.
Kuti.
Of course I had that. But he's a smaller guy, right?
I
Yeah,
think
so
that's
he
what,
should
that's
be
the
have
point
a.
Dane's trying to make here.
And I have no idea what he ran. So
QT was he ran 4. His official was 4.43. QT
3-cone.
was 3-cone was 6.93.
okay, yeah. For a Sutton, a guy that's 30 pounds bigger, taller.
Just play that way then.
Yeah, well, and that's, again, I don't think it's an athletic thing. I think it's a route thing, and just him being comfortable running a full route tree, getting the most at the top of routes, at the stem. It's something I think he's capable of. He has bust potential. There's no question.
Yeah.
Well, we both agree there.
So you're
But he
okay with a
also has-
6.55 then on the 40. You're okay with that because
With
of
the 4.55,
because
yeah.
4.55.
Excuse me, 4.55
6.55
because
would be very
but you're okay
Very.
because of the 3-cone and the shuttle numbers.
Right, exactly. That gives me hope that he's not a bad
That's-
athlete.
that's
He's
fair.
not a bad
That's
athlete.
fair.
He just needs to be more polished as a player.
This is a goal. Like, I mean, the combine's over for us for all intents and purposes. I know there's still a few more days, but the goal now, and it's not just Laquan Treadwell, Brian, but like what we watched from this team. Des Bryant's problem. Route running is an issue for these receivers.
Sure.
And I think that scares you a little bit. It scares me. I haven't paid a lick of attention to these big receivers this entire process because I don't want them, but. It's not about what I want, and that's so.
No,
it's
I'm
a big
not scared.
priority. It's a big priority for me to figure out how the Cowboys feel about.
I'm just
these
thinking
guys.
about the National Football League and separation overall.
Well, here, let's talk about Aggies earmuffs. Christian Kirk, what were his agility numbers?
Christian Kirk was 7.09 in the 3-cone, 4.55 in the 20 shuttle, 12.03 in the 60.
12.03.
Yeah.
That is not good. That's almost a full second.
Yeah, but his 10-yard was 1.54.
It's great, but for a slot receiver,
I mean, it's getting off. It's getting off the line.
sure, and that's great. But again, that's not translating into at the top of the route. And that's Christian Kirk did not have a good day. Plain and simple. Now he has good tape, but he did not have a good day. He did not test like we expected, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, I just like I said, I'm not trying to be. I look at a big guy that runs a 4.55. I'm like, okay, is he going to get faster? But yeah, the shuttle numbers and all that. And again, folks, I am not bashing on SMU, and I'm not trying to bash on the big receivers and all that. I worry about it a little bit, but we'll see.
Well, he has
We'll
bust
see.
potential.
We'll
He does,
see. We'll see
definitely.
about that. Okay, anybody else though? Michael Gallup, I kind of saw him. I'm looking at second-round guys. I'm looking about potential guys, maybe for the Cowboys at 50.
Yeah.
Is Sutton better? Well, Sutton could go in the first round.
Yeah.
He's probably now, with the way you've described him and stuff, like he's probably gone before 50.
Good chance,
Am I right?
I think
Is
so.
Gallup gone before 50?
I don't think so, no. But he had a good day today with a 4.51 official in the 40.
Right.
Which is a good number for him.
Yeah, 6.95 in the 3-cone, 4.37 in the 20 shuttle, and then 11.84 in the 60.
Yeah. And
So,
you know who I thought had a really good day was Deion Kane.
Clemson.
Yeah,
Clemson.
Really
now we
good
got some
athlete.
off-the-field stuff with Deion Kane.
More injury stuff, but he has some off-field stuff too. But when he was younger, so I'm not sure how much of a concern it is now.
Right.
But if you read off his numbers,
Yeah,
real
8
quick.
3/4 hands. It's the first thing I noticed.
That shows because he has a lot of drops.
Yeah, 4.43 in the 40 official, 33.5 on the vert, 9.7 on the broad, 6.71 in the 3-cone, 4.37 in the 20 shuttle, and 11.78 in the 60 shuttle. Numbers are just kind of there.
Yeah.
But when you talk about catching the football and stuff today, I didn't think that was terrible. I don't
No.
disagree with you on that.
Yeah, the film is up and down. The drops worry you a little bit, but just as a size, speed, strength type of receiver,
Right.
that's the type of guy that you look at on day 2, and you want to develop him and turn him into something. So Deion Kane's a name to remember for a day 2 target.
Day 2 targets for sure there. All right, then, just going to, again, kind of going, is there anybody else, though, David, down there that kind of caught your eye a little bit that you were interested? I know you were on Jerry Jones duty today, so it's probably a little unfair for you to.
Gallup is a guy, I as always, I think of this in terms of the Cowboys. So, you got your options at 19, and then I'm always looking for fallback options, which
right.
So Gallup is a guy that has always stood out to me. Dane always tells me he's not a chance at 81, which so it's 50 reasonable. And then another guy, I think this might have been a Twitter question, but I don't care. Another guy, I just said I haven't paid enough attention to Sutton and St. Brown. Another guy that falls in that category for me is Pettis.
Yeah, he didn't work out today, so that was kind of a situation, but. I'll tell you what. Let me throw one at you, then, David. Let me throw another one. Pettis, Dana, enlighten me on Dylan Cantrell from Texas Tech. Okay, I know when I asked you this initially, I think it was you said kind of an H.
That's how I graded him when I watched his film. I thought he was a kind of a hybrid receiver.
Texas
H-back.
Tech, 6027, 226. Now, what's interesting about him is the official time is 4.59.
In the 40.
In the 40. But then you flip him on the athletic stuff. 38. 38 and a half vertical, 10-10 broad jump, 6.56 in the 3-cone, 4.03 in the 20 shuttle. And 10.85 in the 60 shuttle. I got to go watch tape on Dylan Cantrell.
This is for a player that's 6'3", 227 pounds.
Right.
So he crushed it.
Right.
And you're going to watch his tape, and you're going to see a lot of sideline throws.
Is it going to be the same thing as like watching Sutton play at SMU?
A little bit.
Where it's kind of screens.
There's a very, very limited route tree. A lot of comebacks.
Yeah.
Comeback heavy in that offense.
Sounds like you're talking about Jamon Moore.
Yeah, kind of a little with the way the offense is set up and the routes he's asked to run. But he's very efficient, strong ball skills. He's used to making catches with a defender on his hip.
So the separation is going to be a little bit of an issue.
But he wasn't asked to run, the sophisticated routes where he could really show that. I don't think he wasn't coached up in that way.
Yeah,
it was
okay.
It was just simple comebacks where it's just timing between him and the quarterback. But he did a nice job on those because he wins 50-50 balls with the strong ball skills. He uses his body to shield defenders from the ball. He's a one-speed guy. You see him down the field, and there's one gear. But he does have that short area quickness, which I didn't think he'd put up these numbers. But, Dylan Cantrell is he's a favorite day 3 target as kind of that H-back, wide receiver, hybrid type of role.
Let me ask you this, and I'm not saying this because I'm comparing a white wide receiver to a white wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
But is this guy, I think Jordy Nelson was quicker, but is it the same kind of guy, the 50-50 ball winner, the guy that has the quickness, the guy that has some lateral ability? I mean, is that
hell of a comparison?
Yeah, I don't.
And
necessarily
again,
see
I'm
that.
not trying to compare. I'm not just because
I know.
he's a white wide receiver.
No, well, but
I'm just
Jordy
saying.
Nelson's a beast, though. I mean,
Yeah, and
I don't
with
care if he's white.
But
Jordy's
he's second-round pick from Kansas State, though, too, as
yeah.
well.
But what made him such a high pick was
the number,
route running.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. If this guy's catching 50-50 balls, but maybe it's a bad comparison. But I'm just thinking about. I kind of think of Jordy Nelson being that guy that's kind of got that the quickness and the ability, the route running where he can get a little bit, can get open and stuff like that. Maybe it's a really bad comparison.
Jordy Nelson, he's so savvy and he has such a great understanding of how to break down the defender to create that separation. I don't think Cantrell's there yet.
Right.
He's just in the Texas Tech offense.
So he's a
he wasn't
day
groomed
3
that
guy
way.
for sure, right? Day 3.
Maybe these times will change that, but that's the grade I gave him.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I haven't seen the player. That's why I'm asking about the guy.
And I like him best as kind of an H-back hybrid where line him up in the backfield, let him run routes out of the backfield, put him in the slot, try him in line, see what he can do. I think there's some versatility here where he can play outside. He was the Z receiver in that Texas Tech offense. He can do some things, though. I want to – he'd be a guy I want to bring to my facility, work him out, see what you could do with him. the versatility I think he has, if he can work out that way, that's a guy that I would look to target at some point on day 3.
Okay. I'm looking at Kent Garrison right now. Ken, am I good to break this thing off? Okay, I could still ramble on for days, but I will break this thing off. When we come back, we'll hit your questions. Quit on the 20. Stay tuned.
It can be hard to find the right resource for learning about important financial matters. You search how to build savings, you end up reading about the one weird ingredient from supermarkets that can make you taller. That's why Bank of America built BetterMoneyHabits.com, a safe little corner of the internet for answering your financial questions. Full of simple videos and tips, Better Money Habits can show you how to make the most of your money without resorting to random searches that always seem to lead to unbelievable photos of childhood stars grown up. To learn more, visit BetterMoneyHabits.com.
What does it mean to be a Dallas Cowboys fan? It means you've got the passion and the heart to do your part supporting the boys no matter what. That's why when the game's on the line, you're on your feet, whether you're at home or in the stands. Actually, you're more than a fan. You are a member of Cowboys Nation, and so is AT&T, doing their part to keep you connected to America's team all season long. AT&T is a proud member of Cowboys Nation.
Ice Cold Dr. Pepper and the Dallas Cowboys go way back. They belong together, like Texas and football, silver and blue, shotgun formations and Hail Marys. Having a Cowboys football party without Dr. Pepper is like having Thanksgiving without the Cowboys. Basically, we wouldn't recommend it. So, next time you have a tailgate, home gate, or whatever else kind of gate, grab some ice-cold Dr. Pepper for you and your friends to enjoy. It's a Dallas Cowboys tradition. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
To work this big land, you need equipment with values rooted as deep in Texas soil as you are. Like John Deere compact tractors with a 6-year powertrain warranty and big features that help you work less so you have more time to do what you love. John Deere was first in the Texas fields, and we're proud to be on the field as the official ag and turf equipment of the Dallas Cowboys. Find Texas-sized deals at myjohndeeredealer.com/football. Terms, conditions, exclusions, and warranty limitations apply. See dealer for details.
This is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show.
The Cowboys are on the clock.
We're back here in the 2018 NFL Combine. Dane Brugler kind of got some little information, little nuggets. Linebackers?
Always got some nuggets.
Oh, yeah, that's why we got you.
I always forget what
we got to get everything we can out of you before we lose you to one of these teams. But what do you got?
So, Josie Jewell.
Linebacker,
Iowa. Guy we talked about. Had a formal meeting with the Cowboys.
There you go.
We know this team is going to be looking at linebackers.
Josie Jewell.
We'll wait and see what happens with Anthony Hitchens. But we know this team will be looking at linebackers. And Josie Jewell, he's your prototypical Mike.
Yeah,
a
he
guy
is that.
The instincts are off the charts. The athleticism's okay, not bad, not great. He's not on Sean Lee's level, but you see some Sean Lee in his game.
You see a lot of good tackling in space.
Not making the white comparison, but you do see.
You have to use that, right?
It's the instinct. That's why you draw comparisons to Sean Lee. He
absolutely
sees the play develop. He can diagnose, key, go. And
for a big guy, he kind of gets through cracks.
He does.
And he runs through and gets through, tackles for loss.
He's not a bad athlete.
Not at all.
You put him up against Saquon Barkley one-on-one, and he struggles, but so is everyone else.
But kind of give everybody you don't think the numbers are going to be off the chart tomorrow.
No.
It's just going to be a steady workout.
That's what I would expect. Right.
Yeah.
And so we'll see.
Tape is better than the workout's going to be, right?
Yeah,
I think so.
I think some of the short area he might do better than people expect. With a 40, probably won't be great. But he's a guy that
4.83, I think we had him at.
Yeah.
At one time.
At pick number 50, Josie Jewell. He's another guy should be on the short list. A linebacker that can come in and contribute right away. So we didn't get to see him at the Senior Bowl. He was getting over a sickness then.
Right.
But he's a guy to keep on the radar because the Cowboys are.
Keep the Hawkeye tradition alive.
Absolutely. David, take this show over right now, please. Twitter on the 20.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. I was so engrossed in the wide receiver conversation. I didn't forget I got questions.
I know you do.
All right, well, let's start. We covered so much wide receiver.
Got any tight end questions?
Exactly. Eric wants to know about tight ends that may be climbing into the first round, and a follow-up because we got a lot of question about your favorite Nittany Lion, Mike Gesicki.
Boy, you're right about him.
Matt wants to know if he's a consideration at 50.
You need to go away.
Talk to me about first-round possibilities for tight ends, not necessarily for the Cowboys, just in general.
Yeah.
And then also what Mr. Gesicki did for himself
Can we start
today.
with Gesicki real quick?
Yeah.
Brian, let me ask you this question. Are the Cowboys –
Don't do it.
Are the Cowboys, are they creative enough to use a talent like Mike Gesicki?
The answer is probably not.
Yeah.
Just
because Mike Gesicki,
creative is the question. The answer is probably no.
He's not your traditional inline tight end. That's not how he should be used. He's basically an oversized receiver.
Right.
And he's a guy that we know can go up and get the ball. He had, 41.5-inch vert today.
Yep.
4.54 in the 40-yard dash. He's basically a supersized receiver. That's how he should be used. And I want to see him in the backfield. I want to see him in the slot. I want to see him all over the formation. That's how he should be used. Would the Cowboys consider a player like that when traditionally they haven't been open-minded to a guy like that?
I'll tell you what, though.
They drafted a guy like that.
To be honest,
didn't use him.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I wish they would. I wish this guy they've drafted 52 years ago, or 3 years ago, or 4 years ago. This is the guy they needed to pick in the second round when they were trying to draft all those tight ends.
Gavin Escobar.
Yeah,
of the world,
this was the guy they needed to be on the board, not Gavin Escobar. I'm sorry, Gavin Escobar, if you're watching from San Diego, California, or something like that. But yeah, this is the guy that needed to be the one that was selected.
Anything under a 7 and a 3 cone for a tight end is fantastic. And he had a 6.76 in the 3 cone.
He had a short shuttle of 4.10.
It's a great number.
And a 60
10.9 broad.
Yeah, 10.9. Actually, 10.9 broad, 41.5 on the vertical.
Yeah, great numbers.
My gosh.
I mean,
22 touches. But again, the guy will not block.
He'll try,
he'll try, but he will not. I mean, it's tough.
It is.
There's some like, some of that to him, and man, I
like that.
How do I put that in the scouting report?
Yeah, just do it when you're typing it. Go,
Okay.
Like that.
Darn, he got past me.
Yeah, but no, I mean, you always laugh about my Will Dissly, who is like a terrible athlete.
Please tell us more about Will Dissly.
No,
he's the opposite of
exactly
Gesicki,
as a blocker. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying though. But
we could figure out a way to combine the two.
We don't need any more.
Gesicki and Dissly.
Yeah.
You got the perfect tight end.
Absolutely. And I'll get into one more guy, too, Hayden Hurst. You brought that up yesterday. And, we had an interesting conversation at dinner last night about that. And the table seemed to feel like that, when you asked me about the yips, and I was like, I'll take the guy. Going, the table turned against me last night. You guys just jumped on me like I'd never take that guy. Are you kidding me? And I'm still down. Hayden Hurst.
Hey.
Tight end. He actually did pretty well today. 4.67 is the official time. 10-foot broad. 7.19 in your 20 shuttle. 4.37 in the short. Oh, excuse me. When did I say that? 7.19 in the 3 cone. 4.37 in the short shuttle. 12.15 in the 60 shuttle.
Average numbers for a tight end. And Dallas Goedert did not work out.
Did not work out.
That hamstring injury from the Senior Bowl.
But these tight ends, and I tell you, they all caught the ball well too. Though
yeah, they did.
I thought they did a nice gauntlet drills. Everything about that.
Mark
were good.
Andrews had a good day. Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Ian Thomas from Indiana.
Yeah, Pete Prisco's guy. He came over and wore you and I out. We're trying to watch drills, and Prisco sits down and. My favorite guy is, I'm like, okay, thanks.
I love Ian Thomas. I've said this. If the Cowboys want a tight end in this draft, Ian Thomas in the 3rd round.
Ian Thomas is not a bad call.
That's who I would want them to, because he doesn't need to produce from day one. He's a guy that you can grow into a starter. And he would not shock me at all. 5 years from now, we're talking about Ian Thomas as the best tight end from this group.
I'll tell you what, I don't disagree with you there.
Where are you putting these guys? As always, that's what I care about.
Goddard, I think, is in the late 1st. Hayden Hurst could get in the late 1st as well. With Hurst, there's so many variables that teams are going to have to work
about Mark
through.
Andrews, by the way.
You talk about the age. You talk about the yips. You talk about what is he going to – where does he fit in the offense?
You guys at the table hate the yips.
It's part of the equation. Think of a math equation for a player for Hayden Hurst, and it's just part of the equation. But no, Mark Andrews from Oklahoma, basically a slot receiver in Oklahoma's offense.
Yeah.
But he has the size and the skill set of an inline guy.
He does.
He's going to have to, adjust to a blocking role, and that's not going to just happen overnight.
Yeah.
But
his time tied with Hurst as
4.67.
Yeah. So you had actually Jalen Samuels from North Carolina State had the 4.54.
And he's not really a tight end. He's more of your H-back, do-everything guy. But
like that guy at Virginia Tech that everybody tried, Bucky
Hodges.
That guy.
I remember.
He was a man without a position.
Yeah. All right.
Just no disrespect to Penn State or the Nittany Lions or Mr. Gesicki. Just keep him away from me. Because
Tell you what, how about them with
on this team?
Wow.
No. It's got nothing to do with him as a player. It's a wasted draft pick. It's a wasted draft pick. Like the way they like to play, and the fact that Jason Witten's still playing. You talk about you're not scared of the Laquan Treadwell hangover. I got a big-time hangover from Gavin Escobar.
Okay.
Because that's a top 50 pick that played like what felt like a half a dozen snaps in his career.
That's a fair point.
If you want to spend a pick on a mid-round guy that you think might develop and you need a tight end and you need special teamers anyway, fine. I'm not trying to spend a premium pick on a tight end until –
You think people would just go nuts at 50 if they hit one of these tight ends?
No, I don't think people will go nuts. I think there's a lot of people that would like that. But me personally, I'm not worrying about that until Jason Witten has decided to retire. Because until then, I think it's a waste of a resource.
Let me ask you this. If they don't take somebody other than, say, Andrews, Gesicki, or Goddard, I always say his name wrong, Goddard, right? Goddard. If they don't take one of those three, is it a wasted pick?
No, I mean, like I said, I had Ian Thomas
50.
in the third. Oh, at 50? No.
At 50.
There's really only, Goddard, Hurst, Andrews, Gesicki.
Yeah.
Possibilities at 50. One of those four. I think Goddard probably gone. Hurst
But if they
gone.
don't take one of those four, then you would kind of consider it. Ian Thomas, that'd be too early for him.
Yeah, I think he's a third-round player.
Yeah.
Can I get Ian Thomas at 116?
I don't think so. Me personally.
I don't want to draft.
81.
I'm not trying to draft a tight end until day 3. Hey, nobody cares about my opinion.
If I'm looking for a
They
guy,
obviously don't.
If I'm looking for a guy on day 3 and he passes the medicals, Chris Herndon from Miami.
That's a guy I need to
That's
watch. Yeah, Chris Herndon, absolutely. He did not work out today. 21 times the weights.
No.
He is. I need to watch him. 6'036", 253. He's got 32 and 7/8 arms, 9 1/4 hands. But yeah, I've seen him on some flash tape. When you watch the tape, he's one of those guys like, oh, who's that?
He's a good player.
Who's that? Number 23, right?
But again, number 23, but
right.
the knee. He late in the year, what the medical staff says. But again, if you can get him in the 4th or 5th round because of that, again, kind of what Dave was saying, you don't need your tight end for the season opener.
Right.
He's a guy that you project forward, and as long as the medical staff says, he just needs a rehab and he'll be, just as good as new.
Right.
Yeah, he's a player in the 4th round, 5th round you look at.
Dane mentioned this guy yesterday. He actually called him a Jarvis Landry clone, so that's nice.
Mr. Quinn?
Luis wants to know, he says that we really aren't talking about Trey Quinn. Wants to know why that is, and I guess just more about him and what you think about him.
Patriots is them, right? Is that our Patriots guy?
He did have a Patriots visit, which is like the most predictable thing ever.
I think he's a Jarvis Landry type of player where the speed's nothing that's really –
4.55, my friend.
Right, and even on the field, I don't know if he runs that fast. And so he's not the fastest guy, but he has a nice job of breaking off routes and giving his quarterback a target. And he has very sure hands, strong hands. He can do a little bit after the catch. Not a game breaker, but he's just not just a possession guy either. Use him over the middle where he can find space, expose zones. That's what he does best. That's what Jarvis Landry does best, and I think that's what this guy can do. He's a good player. Just another one of these wide receivers in a loaded wide receiver class.
Which
419 on your 20 shuttle, by the way, if you care.
Pretty good.
You have these subconscious, or not even subconscious, but you kind of lean certain ways because I don't see Trey Quinn fitting what the Cowboys are looking for in a receiver.
Don't we have two like that
you
already?
Have two guys on this
already
team.
Already have an SMU guy.
That fit. You have Cole Beasley and you have Ryan Switzer.
Right.
I just would imagine the Cowboys, if they draft a receiver, are looking more for a guy that's going to play outside.
Yeah.
So if we're not talking about him, that's probably why. Vaughn. Poorly kept secret, but Jerry Jones just kind of threw it out there for us today that the Cowboys are going to take a look at Byron Jones as a cornerback this year. Kind of figured, but it's nice to have somebody important say it for sure.
Yeah.
So Vaughn wants to know, what's your plan at safety in light of that? I mean, if that is officially true now, I'm taking that at face value. Byron's at least going to start the year out at cornerback. You're pretty damn thin at safety.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here thinking, it's probably a free agency need. Like whether that's a
Kenny
big
Vaccaro.
Hey, whether it's a big name or just a body, I don't know. But I would imagine you got to sign one. But then in the draft, I think that's why I've talked so much about Derwin James. It seems like something that they would be smart to invest in the first 3 rounds. I don't know. What do you think?
What round do you think?
I mean,
if it's not Derwin James in the first.
I said this off the air today. As in love with DJ Moore as I am, I would rather I'll trade up to get Derwin James and forfeit my 50th pick over if you told me I could have DJ Moore at 19, I'd still go after Derwin James at 12 or whatever. I think it would be dope. Sorry, what was your question other than that?
Well, just
what round do I think?
Yeah.
I mean,
because I think we agree. Derwin James in the first, probably in a trade-up option.
If you're gonna draft a guy that's gonna make an impact immediately, be good enough to push for a starting job immediately, it's probably got to be by pick 50.
No,
because J.J. Wilcox was pick 70, or I think he was pick 80, which is one pick before they picked this year in the third. And he got on the field as a rookie, but he certainly wasn't a difference maker as a rookie.
I'm just looking at the weights because Dane always likes to talk about safeties that are over 200 pounds. Yeah. And I know our guy Galden from Tennessee measured in at 197.
Right.
But I'm looking at these other guys, the guys that could actually play. People ask us a lot about Deshaun Elliott. He was 210. They have Mika Fitzpatrick at 204. They have him working with the safeties, by the way, here at the Combine.
Yeah, he's a
we've talked about, let's see, some other guys. Derwin James, you mentioned him. He was 215 pounds. And that's kind of what you think. Justin Reed was a guy. A lot of people ask us about Justin Reed from Stanford. He was 207. But Monty Watts, Texas A&M, 202. Kaiser White, 218. And then your guy Jordan Whitehead came in at 198.
Good number for him.
So yeah, I mean it's if you're looking for that
what
guy.
about Jesse Bates?
Jesse Bates, I went too far down the list. I'm sorry about that. Dang. Jesse Bates came in at 200 pounds on the dot.
Oh, well, there you go. Wasn't sure he was going to reach 250 or 200. So
yeah,
good that he did. Yeah, this safety class, we both love Rashawn Galden.
Right.
But is he a true free safety or is he best as a nickel? I mean, I think he can do it, but
you know who I compared him to, right?
Yeah, Malcolm Jenkins, and I think that's I like that comparison a lot. I think it makes sense.
I just compare him because I saw Malcolm Jenkins play at Ohio State at corner, and now he covers in the slot. Now he covers tight ends. He's a physical player.
Yeah,
he tackles.
But he's more of a versatile
guy, and I think this guy could be a versatile player.
I agree.
Oh, I know you do.
Is that what they're looking for? They're looking for a versatile guy that
Once
can move
again,
around.
I'm very good. If they move Byron Jones, they better find somebody back there that does have a little versatility that can play deep, it can play up, whatever they have to do. I'm sure that they can find a way to say, okay, even though we're going to play Byron Jones, I wonder if Byron Jones if they're going to make this move, is Byron Jones going to start at right corner? Why would you make this move if he wasn't going to start?
Oh no, I mean
that's the question I have.
I think the hope would be that he starts.
Well, is he going to start over Lewis? Because Lewis is your right corner.
I mean, if we're reading tea leaves here, I don't have a press release that tells me this.
No, I know that. But if you're moving Byron Jones, are you moving him to be a backup?
If I had to guess, I think their preferred starting three would be Byron, Cheeto, and Jordan Lewis.
Right.
Lewis in the slot.
Meaning Scandrick.
Scandrick, I'm sorry.
Right.
You're
outside looking in.
So then you're thinking, okay.
And then Anthony Brown is your backup.
Okay, and then Xavier Woods is now you're just your straight safety and not playing in the slot anymore?
That would be the goal.
Right.
I mean, if he's up to it, then yes. I mean, yeah, if you could guarantee them that Xavier Woods is good enough to start, they'd probably be elated. Yeah. And Jerry Jones had some nice things to say about Kayvon Frazier and Xavier Woods today, but you can't go into a season just hoping that pans out for you.
Dave, I know we have just 5 minutes or so, maybe a little longer.
We got more time than that.
If we can. I think that we're – okay, talk about with Jerry Jones today, though. Talk about what you learned on the bus today, this afternoon from the Combine.
I did, and
stuff all about it's going to be on DallasCowboys.com.
We talked about Byron moving. I mean, there's so much stuff about Dez that you can go read on the website if you need more updates on that. The big thing that for the draft show, I just loved hearing Jerry talk about how wide open this thing is. Actually, this plays into another Twitter question we got from Peyton, a guy named Peyton, which will just. He said, if you're going to double dip again in this draft like you did at cornerback last year, where would you do it? And to that point, I just thought it was great how Jerry was saying, obviously every team has needs, but I don't think the Cowboys have that glaring need that's like, oh, my God, we absolutely have to address that. I mean, at the end of the day, this is not a bad roster. And I think they realized that, and Jerry basically said, if a cornerback's the best option, we could draft a cornerback. We have enough picks and we have a good enough roster that we can do things like that to solidify our team, whether that means drafting cornerback, best player available. Also, he noted that you can trade compensatory picks.
Right.
I don't think the Cowboys are going to be afraid to move around in this draft if they think they need to.
There you go. That's good news for fans if you want to do that.
Like I said, in recent years, you've kind of been able to peg a strategy because, like, they don't have any pass rushers or they're letting their secondary go. Like, they needed to draft defensive backs last year in order to field a team. This year, not so much. So it's fascinating to think that there's really no direction that I don't think they could go in.
Did he give you any idea of the tender on David Irving?
He said that they're going to talk to that. They want David back on the team, but he said they're not going to divulge it at all, which at some point they have to. But they have not revealed which round they want to put on him yet.
Okay,
it's either one or two.
Let's talk about, too, something that we saw today late in the day was Shaquille Griffin and the bench press.
Shaquem,
excuse me.
Shaquille's his brother.
Shaquille's his brother. Griffin. Talk about that today, though. That was something, we
the only time he used the prosthetic on the bench.
It's amazing.
Put up 20 reps.
20 reps.
Which is more than plenty of other players who have done. So really impressive, and it's just the bench press. We can't overrate what the bench press is, but it just goes to the larger point about what a competitor he is, how much energy he brings to the field, energy he brings to anything he's doing. He's really an impressive person and an impressive player, and that's why you fell in love with him. Give me in the second round. And we love him in the fourth round, and just find a way to get him on the team, and he'll make a contribution and help our team win football games. But eager to see him tomorrow in drill, see how he does. I'm expecting a big day for him.
Me too.
It seems like wherever we go, he's one of the big stories, and he deserves it with everything that he's overcome and how he continues to play at a high level and compete at a high level.
Measured in at 6'0", 227, 32 and an eighth on the arms and 9 on the hand.
Here's a fun thought for you, Brian. Which, unfortunately, he's such a great guy, and I think.
By the way, he did one more rep than Tremaine Edmonds.
That's amazing.
Did 6 more reps than Orlando Brown.
I think a lot of teams are going to feel this way because he's such a great guy.
He is a great guy. Yeah.
But hey,
he's a good football player too.
You always talk about how confidently you can draft when your GM's the owner of the team.
Right.
He's the proverbial right kind of guy. He's got the good enough tape to justify a draft spot, and you're talking about a team that has supreme confidence in its decisions because the general manager owns the team.
He's not going to fire the GM.
I certainly wouldn't. I mean, I can very easily talk myself into the Cowboys falling in love with this guy. Not as their starting Mike, but as they got 10 picks.
Yeah, well,
why not?
If they're hunting wide receivers, and Dane was giving you the nugget earlier, they're probably hunting linebackers too.
They need to be.
Yeah, and then tomorrow is that day for the linebackers.
I really liked that question from Peyton.
Yeah.
I think I'd probably double up on linebacker in this draft. If I'm the Cowboys, what do you think?
I think if you could find it, you're gonna. It's when's your double in the compensatory start? That's fourth round.
Fourth.
Yeah.
They pick twice in the fourth and twice in the fifth.
Yeah. So maybe you double up in the fourth on those linebackers would be the ideal. Probably not going to get. Depends on who's there at. You could convince me to pick a linebacker at 19 if the right one was there.
I would try to pick one with a premium pick, like first, second, or third round, and then I would try to find a special teams type Shaquem Griffin guy on late on day 3.
And we're going to get a lot of numbers this week and all that. You can't put a number on what he brings to a locker room.
Sure.
That is something in itself.
Jason Garrett's going to fall in love with that.
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
There's
absolutely.
no doubt in my mind.
You introduce him to the locker room, and it's going to be a better locker room for it. Now, you don't draft him just because of that.
Right.
Or you don't overdraft him
you watch
because
the
of
tape,
that.
and he's making plays. That's what you draft him for.
But when, in the fourth round, when maybe there's a good wide receiver you like, there's this, that might be the difference why you take a player like that because of what he brings to the locker room, the intangibles. Him setting that type of example of playing with that heart and passion, that rubs off on the rest of the team, and that'll play well in the locker room as well. So that's something that we won't have a number for, but should be heavily considered in the draft process.
Guys, as we leave Indianapolis for another year, just kind of give me a thought or two about things you've heard, things you've seen, things you didn't expect, something you did expect, just something that can kind of like I say, put a bow on our time here as we spent.
Well, we expected Saquon Barkley to perform really well, and he did. And the great thing is we still have plenty more positions to go. We haven't seen the defensive yet.
Right.
No defensive player has tested yet, except for the bench press.
We got Sunday and Monday for that.
Today, Harrison Phillips, 42 in the bench press.
Right.
Vita Vea, 41. Two ridiculous numbers.
Yep.
Great numbers for both. But I'm eager to see Vita Vea. I think he's going to put on a show. Some of these corners, Denzel Ward came in basically 5'11", 5'10", and 7/8.
Mm-hmm.
Good length, longer arms than Josh Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
So the size is not a worry for me with Denzel Ward. He came in much bigger than we expected.
Sure.
And I think he's going to run in the 4.3s. Dante Jackson, LSU, he might run in the 4.2s. So we have plenty of guys we have plenty of workout warriors so far. We're going to have more the next 2 days with the defensive linemen and linebackers and then the defensive back. So it's been a fun week doing the offense. Still have a lot more to go with the defense.
David?
Even including the year when they were picking 4th overall, I've never been more intrigued by like all the possibilities that lay in front of this team. And like from evaluating draft guys, getting a closer look at them here, and then talking to team officials, I think this is going to be the most interesting spring that we've seen here in a while. And I'm not saying that like they're gonna sign all these crazy deals and like pull a Giants and go spend $200 million in free agency. That's not what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just stuff this team's going to have to do in the next month, whether that's Des Bryant,
that's
filling some holes in free agency. The Zach Martin and DeMarcus Lawrence and David Irving contract situations are all hanging out there, and they have to get resolved probably sooner rather than later. And then you've got 10 picks in the draft. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I mean, yes, every team has holes, but the holes on this team are not as glaring as they have been in the past. So one way or another, I think you can really significantly improve this team by drafting well this year. And so, starting when we get back and going until when the draft's over, like I said, I think it's going to be about as active and interesting in 2 months as we've had here in the last, in the time that I've covered the team. I really think that.
Jerry Jones said the Philadelphia Eagles winning the Super Bowl clearly raised the bar.
Yeah,
for this football team. And I think you're going to see a sense of urgency from this team. Mm-hmm. I think that now it's all the things that Dave and Dane have said about this team, whether it's the draft, free agency, Des Bryant stuff, that Philadelphia Eagles winning this championship did. It got a lot of people's attention in that front office. So, again, they're going to have an outstanding draft. They're going to have to make some decisions on free agency. And if they bottom fish on some free agents, they better find a way not to miss on those guys. That's one thing the Philadelphia Eagles were very good at last year, is they hit on some of those guys, and the Cowboys can't afford to miss. Got some dead money in that category right now, and they don't need to have any of that anymore. So should be an interesting season as we head along. We're running out of days. We're getting close to the draft. Thanks for everybody hanging out with us while we're here in Indianapolis. Thanks for all the questions, the tweets. Thanks for hanging out on Periscope, everything you do for us. We'll be back next week at our SWBC Mortgage Studios for more of the Draft Show, so you guys stay tuned.